G'day, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a bathroom reno. This is going to be part one of maybe a 3 or 4 part series. I'm not quite sure. I'm only just through the first part of editing this all together now. Um, so here on screen you can see this is the old bathroom setup, which is getting taken out. So I'm just doing a quick walkthrough. You can see there's a new toilet in that corner. We were sort of mocking up where that was going to go, and you can see behind it on that wall there was those 2 outlets. I'm sort of going around now. There was a door where I'm waving my arm right now, and you can see where the paint's missing on those trims. A big sliding glass door that separated the rest of the bathroom from the toilet where I'm standing now. You can see where I'm pointing now, like that's the old shower basin that we want to get rid of. It's not really good for sitting in, and we've just like started some demolition on this wall that has the mixer and all the pipe in it. We needed to pull that panel off just to see what was up. The floor below, or just outside of that curtain as you come out of the shower, was sagging. That was sort of the first sign that our floor is a bit sketchy and needs a bit of work. Here I'm just sort of pointing out that the window, when we do our new shower, is going to be inside the showering area like it currently is, but probably more so. The original plan was to build out the wall to have shower niches in it, but not the wall I'm touching now, but the other corner behind the curtain. And the plans actually changed to the same wall as the window, where we ended up doing the wall being built out and adding shower niches for the shampoo and other like bottles of stuff. Um, Here I'm just showing how much light we currently get in the room with the one window. This renovation we added a second window that's to my left in the toilet area, which is going to be the new vanity area. So I just wanted to see how much light was coming through with the original window. That's quite big, and the new one's going to be a lot smaller. Or it is a lot smaller. It's in now, but not in this video yet. This is the vanity area, so where the toilet is just there will be where the sink will go. There'll be a cabinet on that back wall there with that pipe removed, and there'll be a big table going across that whole area. So where that shelf is will be a big flat area for dumping stuff like hair dryers and straighteners and whatever. And then underneath it will all be shelving. The water here, I'm just explaining what's going to happen basically with the build, which I guess you don't really need to see very much of, considering you'll see it happen in the video. So here you can see I've started doing some cleaning. This build has taken a few months. I'm doing this voice recording over this video now a few months into this build. Hopefully on the home stretch now. It's September, and I think I started recording this in early March and started the build in early March. So it's been a long haul. But yeah, I'm just scraping off all the old mortar and cement off the sills here. You can see it's very flaky and just comes right off. So I'm just clearing that out of the way so I can do the new floor. Obviously in this clip you can see that the whole floor is missing and the whole shower has been removed. Sorry, that should have been the most obvious thing that I should have started with, but the floor has been removed, the old shower and everything has come out. That 150mm drain that I'm right next to was added. That's the new toilet drain. We had to get some plumbers in to come and do that for us. They drilled a new hole through the brick and ran it into a new drain in the backyard. The old floor was rotten. When I pulled it up, like I was saying, where it was sagging under the shower entrance, yeah, it was just very wet, and there was no silicone or barrier under the lino that we had down, so moisture would get through around the edges, and it was good that we got to it when we did. Otherwise we would have had a collapsed floor within, the next 5-10 years or so. So here I'm just removing the last beam or floor joist. You can see the end of it to the left of the screen, how much of that joist is sitting on a very loose piece of mortar that was just built up underneath, because it didn't actually come to the same height as the brick on that side it sat above. So the previous builders, probably near 100 years ago, because these are quite old houses, and quite old timbers and old construction methods, yeah, they just slapped a heap of mortar under that floor beam and just went with it. This was a very stubborn nail by the looks of it. And I've got my small crowbar instead of my big one, which is probably not helping at all, but there we go. It's popped out eventually. The post that the joist is sitting on, I should say, the stump, is just straight in the dirt, which is, yeah, not how these things are supposed to be done, or not how they're done in modern day. But back in the day, this post was no treatment whatsoever, just a hardwood post straight in the dirt. And you'll see a clip soon where I've pulled one out at the other end, and it's just rotted through like that. Look at that, it's just all rotted, it's wet and missing a massive chunk at the bottom, and it was just held in by dirt. There was no cement or gravel underneath or anything packed in around it. It was just dirt packed in to hold it there. And that was the same for both. There was two posts, two stumps in there, and they were just, yeah, completely degraded and failing. So here's the solution. I've taken the posts out, and I've got the post hole digger in the background there, and I've just drilled 3 new posts in. I've poured some gravel in the bottom and made some casting boxes. Now, I'm not like a professional at this or whatever, but I've just made sure to compact the gravel in the bottom after watching some YouTube videos on how to do re-stumping. And yeah, I'm just making sure that my boxes for my casting are nice and level. I'm just packing some dirt under there just to make sure it's level. They don't have to be, held up super well. Like, I'm going to be careful as I cast my cement, which I actually don't end up recording, but I double check all my levels and everything after I cast and when I flattened off my top surfaces. So yeah, I just spend a lot of time here making sure that I'm leveling out these boxes in the corners very well and just double checking it all. And here I am just mixing up the concrete to go in. So measured, I think it was 3 litres of water per bag, but it was very wet. And yeah, here they are cast out. I missed the I forgot to record me pouring it. I had a bit of trouble there because I ran out of cement halfway through one of the pours and had to call up my sister because I didn't have my car license at this time, so I couldn't run to the store myself and grab it. I had to ring up my sister to come and drop off 4 or 5 more bags, and I had one spare at the end. But they were all casted fine and they had to sit for a week. So here I'm just cleaning off the walls again and just breaking off any of that loose mortar. That was a pretty good spot. It had some bits sticking out that were like just, lumpy, and you just want it to be smooth for the panels that will go in on it later. So yeah, just breaking off any high points, and the old silicon. Yep. Feels weird watching this when this was months ago, and removing all the dust because I'm gonna mortar some of these bigger gaps. That lip I didn't end up doing, so I'm just wasting my time cleaning that. But here's my test corner. So I didn't know how this primer worked. I wasn't sure if I had to mix it in or apply to the surface. The bottle said apply to the surface. Videos say mix it with a bit of cement, like mix a little bit in with the mortar. I just applied it to my surface to prime it to make sure all the dust was removed, and then I just tested this batch of mortar. This was too dry to start with. You can clearly tell like it's just not sticking and it's crumbling. But this is why you test stuff out and you practice and you try things out. So this was the first batch. I made 2 batches for this area. The second batch you can see immediately goes on way better. Here's the second batch. You can just see like it's wetter and it just sticks like straight away. So yeah, that was lesson learned. But the whole lot ended up holding up pretty good, even though it was on the drier side, the first bit, but it held up. This corner was sagging, so to make sure that my joists were supported, I just slapped heaps of mortar on here. And then here we are with the new stumps. So just some red gum posts that I rescued from another stump replacement on some other house. Just on Facebook Marketplace, this guy was selling heaps of these. I've put in these metal like risers or brackets or whatever you want to say they are. You can see there's plumbing in the way there, just capped off, waiting for a bit of the floor to be done so the plumbing can be run to different areas. I think that's the hot water coming in. Actually, no, it's cold water. I actually can't remember which is which, but I think it's the hot water. So yeah, just putting in some big bolts to hold these posts in. I had to wait 7 days for the cement to cure before I drilled it. Some people say you can drill before. I don't know. I'm not a professional in this field, so I just waited. Here I'm just checking my height clearance for when these joists are in. So I just wanted to make sure I had all the correct height going and checking everything's level, and then just drawing my marks on my posts for this middle floor joist. I think that's what it's called. If it's not, correct me please, because this is all a DIY and I'm pretty sure it's not like 100% proper, but you know, we're just going for it because why not? So yeah, there we go. I skipped the part where they cut, but they're all cut and they're all labeled in case there was any slope in the floor, and just screwing them back in and knocking them into place and whatnot. And it's out of focus, but there goes the beam. Here's the level. Bang, look at that bubble. Spot on. Nice. And then yeah, just checking my height clearance again. So I think I had about 25 mil there, maybe a bit less actually, to play with. And then these joists for the sides. So to get my floor nice and level, I had these joists. I had 3 joists. Is that what they're called? I'm not sure. I'm saying joists a lot and it's really messing with me. But I've got my waterproofing under there because it's up against cement. I'm just lag bolting them in. Here I got my mate Jack. He ended up coming in a bit later in the day here and helping me with the rest of the floor. We actually ended up smashing out heaps. I don't have any footage, but I borrowed his dad's nail gun, and yeah, like it just we got the floor done in probably 2 hours, I reckon. So we're just putting these. I had to run this through the table saw. You can see it's not quite the full thickness of those normal MGP 10 bits, just because it wasn't going to sit level with the pieces of wood that I have going across that I'll call the beams. So I'll call these 3 the joists, the middle and these 2 side ones with the lag bolts going in will be called the joists, and then the beams that sit across them, 90 degrees across them, I'll call them the floor beams. These ones, those 3 beams there, and this 4th one going in now. So I measured it all up and I looked up the Australian standards for floor beams and all that sort of thing, and it was something like 460 mil is like the max spacing or something. So I did a little bit less. I think I did 430. Fast forward a bit, you can see a lot of the floor just got done. We smashed it all out. I forgot to film because the battery died and I had Jack with me and I didn't want to waste his time, so we just got to it. That corner board isn't nailed down yet. Here I'm just pointing out that I've cut the hole too big for the toilet, but it's getting relocated, so it's okay. It'll need a new hole. This is the shower build out that I was talking about, the shower wall that comes out from the brick, where we're going to have the shower niches in it. You can see the framing in that one noggin there is a bit dodge, but it doesn't have to be because it's not really structural. It's just like sitting out from the wall. And you can see the window's also been taken out, and there's some old wooden wedges that were holding in the old window frame, which made it very difficult to remove because I couldn't pull the nails out of those areas, and I just had to fight against the brick and that wedge being in the brick. But eventually the window came out, as you can see. It's quite a lot of space there, and fast forward again because I'm really bad at videoing, but fast forward and the new window is in, and my dodgy framing is in around it. You can see it's a lot smaller than the original window. Um, a lot, a lot of space had to be framed in there, and I've just used some wide pieces of pallet and some more bolts to mount it all up, and some offcuts of those joists just to frame it all in together. It's not the best framing, but it was done with what I had, which is what I like to do, and it's certainly strong enough and it'll work out. Fast forward, even more. Heaps of work has happened now. Plumbing's in, the shower wall is in, you can see the outside of the window, like there's that white panel there, so that's all sort of almost airtight by this clip. The elbow here for the toilet has gone in for its relocation. The cold water's been ran, the mortar's gone in, that's the cold water coming through, and then we have two caps there for running to the vanity later, which all that part of the plumbing gets done a bit later on. So here what I'm about to show is like a problem that I also ran into. I made a mistake when cutting out my 20mm notch in the bottom of this piece of frame here. You can see in that red tube there's just a hole there. It's not too big, but being under mains pressure, that's obviously enough to go spraying out with water. I was just using a drill bit too close to it and to take out that notch, some of the material there, and I just slipped, and I knew the pipe was there, but yeah, I just punctured it. Luckily, through one of my mates, Sammy, we contacted another mate called Oscar and got this cap put on. So shout out to Sammy and Oscar for coming out and helping me with that. You guys really saved me a little bit of trouble. We just had to turn the mains off, but we could still use water with that cap on it, so that was really good. So here I'm just finishing off the floor panels, cutting my new hole with the new elbow for the toilet. Made sure to cut this one a lot smaller than the first hole, so when the tiles go on later there's no cracking or weird edging. Just hammering it into place there. It's a little out of frame, but it goes in, and again a little bit of a fast forward, skipping past some footage there, just cutting the final board and measuring the final board and doing a clearance there for the trim there for the wall, which we actually have removed as of last week and replaced with some new trim. It looks a lot better. There's no edges and lips. So yeah, just running outside. Don't know why that was really dodgy. Maybe that's just my playback. The computer seems to be struggling right now. But yeah, just measuring. Cat's getting out of there before I cut because he knows it's going to be noisy. See the old bathtub sitting there, which is now a pond in the backyard. So we like to reuse as much stuff as we can. We did throw out a fair bit from this, I won't lie. Back inside now. Wrong way around, wrong way around. Yep, there we go. Lay it in. Hammer it into place. Realise there's something blocking it at the end. I spent a bit of time with the hammer and chisel. You can see they're there on the side, but I cut that out because it was actually taking too long. I'm finishing it off with the saw there, and it fits in very nice. And that's the floor. That's it. It's finished. Part one's just going to be the floor because this is a lot of footage for me to sift through. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the progress up until this point. None of that floor is nailed down, and that shower base is not installed yet. That's all to come in the next part. where we'll be doing waterproofing, nailing down the floor, and a little bit more plumbing and some wall stuff, because to do the waterproofing I had to finalize some stuff with the walls. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this commentary of my bathroom reno. If you have, stay tuned for part 2, because there's bound to be many more mistakes that you can call out in that one. So yeah, but do call them out, because I'm learning and I'm not qualified in any of this shit. I'm just doing it because it's all learning. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.